Once upon a time, in a small village, there was a young woman named Rukmini. She was very poor. She lived in a small house with her mother and younger brother. To help her family, Rukmini worked as a maid for a rich lady named Mrs. Neeta. Mrs. Neeta lived in a big house with many rooms. She had nice clothes, expensive jewelry, and a lot of money. But Mrs. Neeta was not a kind woman. She was very rude to her workers, especially Rukmini. Every day, Mrs. Neeta would shout at Rukmini, even if she did nothing wrong. "Rukmini, you are too slow." Mrs. Neeta would say. "Hurry up, clean the floor better." Rukmini never argued. She just kept doing her work. She cleaned the house, washed the dishes, and took care of everything with care and honesty. One day, Mrs. Neeta lost her favorite bracelet. It was very expensive and special to her. She looked everywhere but couldn't find it. She became very angry and called Rukmini. "Where is my bracelet? Did you steal it?" Mrs. Neeta shouted. Rukmini was shocked. She had never stolen anything in her life. She said softly, "No, madam, I did not take it. I am honest." Mrs. Neeta did not believe her. She told Rukmini to leave the house and not come back. Rukmini was very sad, but she left quietly, trusting that the truth would come out one day. After losing her job, Rukmini felt worried. How would she feed her family? She looked for work in the village but could not find any. One day, while walking through the market, she saw a little boy crying. He had lost his mother in the crowd. Rukmini approached the boy and asked, "What is wrong?" "I can't find my mother," he cried. Rukmini felt a wave of sympathy for him. "Don't worry. I will help you find her," she said gently. They walked together, calling out for the boy's mother. Finally, they spotted a lady looking around, worried and searching for her son. The boy ran to his mother and hugged her tightly. "Thank you for helping me," he said to Rukmini. His mother smiled gratefully and gave Rukmini some coins as a reward. "You are very kind. Please take this for your help," she said. Rukmini smiled but politely refused the coins. "I am happy to help." "That is enough for me," she replied. The mother was impressed by Rukmini's honesty and kindness. She said, "You are a good person. If you ever need work, please come to me. I own a shop and may need help." A few days later, Rukmini was surprised to receive a knock at her door. It was Mrs. Neeta. She had found the bracelet in one of her drawers and felt terrible for blaming Rukmini. "Rukmini, I am very sorry. I was wrong to blame you. You are an honest girl, and I should have trusted you," Mrs. Neeta said. Rukmini smiled and forgave her. From that day on, Mrs. Neeta was very kind to Rukmini. She never shouted at her again. In fact, Mrs. Neeta even helped Rukmini's family by giving them some money for food and clothes. Rukmini continued to work in Mrs. Neeta's house, but now she was happy. She and Mrs. Neeta became close, and they treated each other with respect and kindness. Rukmini's life became better, all because she stayed honest and helped others, even when times were hard. She learned that kindness always finds a way back to you.